Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning on OAB's Online Learning Hub, the first interactive learning platform in Oman. My name is Ayman Shahi, and I am Head of Learning and Development at Oman Arab Bank. We are running a series of online workshops that are focused on innovation, personal development, and career success. For more information about the workshops and to find out how you can register, please follow us on our social media pages on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Today, we are delighted to be joined by Mr. Seddik Abdel Meguid, Managing Partner of Penta Pyramid for Leadership Development and the Solution Partner of Harrison Assessment International, who will talk about how to get ready for work life now. This is an interactive session. Therefore, if you have any question during the presentation, please raise your question into the chat window and they will be read out loud and addressed by our speaker. If you would like to join the discussion at the end of the presentation, please raise your virtual hand and we will call on you. Or you can send a chat message to a group of everyone and we will read the question out loud. Sadiq, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Ayman, for the introduction. And thank you all for availing the time to attend this webinar. I hope you and your families are all keeping well and safe. First, let me introduce Penta Pyramid. We are a talent management. Let me adjust the camera, give it here. Yeah. Okay. We are a talent management company based in Dubai with the intention of building capacity and bringing positive change to individuals, organizations, societies within the MENA region. This is the third webinar actually from Penta Pyramid on Oman Arab Bank Learning Hub. The three webinars are integrated together to take you through the journey of setting your right mindset for job hunt, followed by your personal branding. And today is the third one, which is to get you ready for the new normal work life. Before sharing with you the agenda of today, I would like to check if you agree or disagree on three critical issues related to our topic today. So I will share with you three statements. Please type your answers in the chat box for all participants and panelists with A, if you agree, or B, if you disagree, okay? Ready? So the first statement is, let me first have the chat box so I can see your chat. Yeah, very good. Okay, the first statement is, in our personal and work life now, we have contradicting demands and conflicting forces more than ever before. Do you agree or disagree? Ahmed, Suhair, Mahmoud, thank you. A. Sarah, Sally, A. Muhammad Tahawi, A. Okay. So, yeah. Ella Patterson, thank you. A. So you do agree, most of you are agreeing with this statement. All right, the second statement is, due to COVID-19, when we want to make a decision or a choice now, we have more blind spots and uncertainty than before. Do you agree or disagree? So again, in your chat box, you can write A if you agree. Again, all the A's here. Thank you. Ahmed. Thank you, A. Lots of A's. Actually, all are A's. Yeah. Okay, ready for the third statement? The third statement is, we will need to adopt a more dynamic way of thinking to be able to navigate through the new normal. We will need to adopt a more dynamic way of thinking to be able to navigate through the new normal. Do you agree or disagree? Sally? Okay. A. So I think we're all in agreement here on the three statements. Thank you so much for your inputs. And now let me share with you the agenda of today, since it is addressing the three statements as follows. In the first part of the webinar, we will explore the components of our life landscape and the increased contradicting forces and tensions. In the second part, we will be addressing two dynamic way of thinking as recommended approach to deal with the new normal. So we'll have an overview of the power of paradox and the pentapyramid life design. So this is the agenda of the coming maybe 50 minutes or so. Since the new normal is going to impact all dimensions of our life landscape, let me first start by exploring what do we mean by life landscape. There are mainly 5 spaces or domains or dimensions of our life. The first one is our physical space, which is anything related to our body and our health that we need to maintain in good conditions and fuel it with energy to be able to resist disease, handle emergencies, and enjoy our life. The second dimension or the second space is our spiritual space, which is the non-physical part of us. Anything related to our faith, our inner peace, the morals and values we live by. And the spiritual intelligence progresses from our knowledge, appreciation, and understanding of ourselves as well as understanding and appreciating other people as well. The third dimension is the social space. It has to do with our relationships, family, friends, society, our interactions, and our connections. The fourth space is our professional space, which is our career, our work, our roles and professions. Our professional space is depending on the standards and quality of the training, the education, the knowledge and skills we receive. The fifth one is the financial space. Financial space is an important element in our overall prosperity. It is the money we have, our income, our financial obligations, our saving, and our lifestyle. So these are the 5, when we say life landscape during this coming few minutes, this is what we mean by the life landscape, the 5 spaces of our life: physical, spiritual, social, professional, and financial. Okay, since it is critical to focus on all the 5 dimensions of our life landscape with clear intentions and goals for each dimension, it is also critical to understand what are the tensions of different factors affecting our progress or limiting our progress in that 5 dimensions. I'm going to share with you some examples of each dimension of the 5 dimensions. For example, on the physical dimension, we like to be in good shape, right? Meanwhile, we like to eat junk food. And this is a contradicting forces here. We like to live long. And meanwhile, we don't like to be old. On the spiritual dimension, when 2 beliefs or desires are conflicting with each other, there are discomfort and confusion about life. For example, when we feel uncomfortable when there is a gap between what we believe and what we do on a daily basis. Again, on social dimension, we always want to be liked and be loved. At the same time, we always want people to agree with our point of view, right? Because we think we are always right. And that in a relationship might cause conflicts. On the social side, also, sometimes the contradictions is dictated by outside forces. It's out of our hand. Like now, even if we like to be closer to each other, we may choose social distance and separation. And this requires a new paradigm of communication to maintain successful relationships. On the professional side, for example, we have emotional needs for advancement, progress, and promotion, yet sometimes we like to be in our comfort zone and resist change, especially when a change requires some effort from our side. Another example, again on the professional, in many organizations we have now different generations under one roof, with tensions between the old and new generations due to different way of thinking. Also, on the professional side, in many cases, we follow the global requirements and standard, and sometimes the global requirement conflicts with our local practices or traditions, and that creates tension as well. On the financial front, sometimes our long-term objectives contradict with our short-term objectives, and if you focus on one set or one end, you may miss on the other end. Okay, so these are some examples. There are lots of examples about the forces and contradicting forces on each and every dimension of our life landscape. So now what? If this is what the landscape looks like, full of tensions, whether we have created them or they've been created by default as the new normal. Now what? We have two choices here. Either we become a product of our landscape and live in denial and blame our circumstances, or we manage that landscape with our way of thinking. So the question is, what way of thinking should we adopt to get comfortable being uncomfortable? Again, what way of thinking should we adopt to get comfortable being uncomfortable? In a simple term, to deal with dynamic paradoxical landscape, you also need a dynamic paradoxical thinking. To deal with dynamic paradoxical landscape, you also need a dynamic paradoxical way of thinking. Okay, that's why now I will address two dynamic approaches recommended to deal with the new normal. The first one is the power of paradox, followed by a pentapyramid life design. In the power of paradox, let me explain this in a simple term. Navigating through life requires stop viewing the world from an either-or perspective, to shift our focus from being torn between two contradicting demands and free up our mental resources to inspire innovation. So before talking about the power of paradox, what does it mean, paradox, in the first place? In a simple term, paradox is two propositions appearing contradictory, but in fact, they are complementing each other. Two propositions appearing contradictory, but in fact, they are complementing each other. Here are some simple example of paradoxical statement. When you hear something like more is less, less is more. For example, if you have too much text and colors in your CV, it will give less chances for you to be shortlisted by the interviewer or the recruiter. Or when you hear something like spend to gain, or I must be cruel to be kind, or tough love, for example. Tough love means when parents, for example, when they are very tough with their kids only because they love them. So this is an example of paradoxical statement. So the paradox has contradicting elements that are present and operate equally at the same time. So this is the idea or the concept of paradox. Now let's apply this concept on what is happening right now. Let's take the example of coronavirus impact, and you might have seen this with me during the first webinar. If you look at the corona crisis right now, it entails two contradicting forces. One is the economy or your money, and the second one is your health. So what options do we have here? We may focus on making money only at the expense of health, or we may focus on health at the expense of economy, or we may neglect both of them. Here, we may make money and lose health, and people may suffer from infections, of course. And here, we may be safe, but poor, and people may suffer also from hunger. And if we don't focus on both, we will be living in denial, and this may lead to a total collapse in health and economy. That's why we need to have both of them. And this is the new normal, which is living with the virus till hopefully there is a vaccine in place, embrace uncertainty, to learn how to differentiate between mistake we can afford to make and a mistake we cannot afford to make, because it is possible that we're going to make mistake in such uncertainty. We need to understand reciprocity as well. What goes around comes around. Collaboration is important. Helping people around you will definitely come back to you sooner or later. We also need to identify what opportunities may be there within each risk. So this is an example of a paradoxical way of living right now in the new normal. So now let's examine each dimension of our life landscape and see how to apply the paradoxical thinking and be ready for the new normal work life. We said that we have 5 dimensions. One is the physical, spiritual, social, professional, and financial. So example on physical dimension, with the current situation right now, our lifestyles have changed. Many are working from home. Sometimes we have disturbed sleeping pattern. Some people are having out of control eating habits with stress and low physical activity. Paradoxically, on the other hand, we are required to improve our physical fitness, have high immunity, eat healthy diet, have energy, enough sleep, and have the stamina to resist tough situations. See how paradoxical these two, the now and the need. There are examples on the physical dimensions of what we can do in order to be able to navigate through the new normal work life for this dimension. Like, for example, making use of the lockdown to exercise at home with family using the available resources, or attending virtual physical fitness classes, or taking care of your eating habits and involve family members in preparing healthy meals at home instead of ordering food from outside. On the spiritual dimension, we have closed mosques, churches, and temples. Major events are postponed or canceled. Mass prayers are banned. Some people have anxiety and depression. With this in mind, we also expected to have positive attitude, strong mental health, having faith and hope during crisis, believing that the phase shall end soon. The new normal entails getting higher safety measures, performing prayers at home with family, having virtual and media coverage for religious events or prayers. And an example of a dynamic way of thinking spiritually, on 14th of this May, there was a call for prayer for humanity. It was a global united effort where individuals from all walks of life and belief systems came together in a reflection and prayer for an end to the COVID-19 pandemic and for the good of all humanity. And this is a kind of example for how people, how the global now the world now is thinking paradoxically. If you look at the social dimension, in social space, current situation entails social distancing, staying at home, travel bans, no gathering, social events canceled or postponed. Meanwhile, we need to maintain healthy social relationship and stay in touch with families and friends, offer help to those in need, and have we are in this together attitude. Paradoxical thinking entails on this dimension something like finding ways to stay in touch with those around us while keeping safe, using virtual calls with friends, families, or stay connected, abiding by safety measures to contribute positively towards society and protecting the ones you love. Schedule virtual calls to connect with others. Virtual professional help is now offered to help, for example, fighting depression for some people. So This is new normal now. On the professional dimension, we have some falling industries, increase in automation, some jobs are at risk, there are global economic crises, and some business owners are in denial. On the other hand, we need to maintain our careers and secure our jobs. So the new normal entails being flexible with the new job requirements, staying updated with the new recruitment model, getting trained on the new skills and competencies required, understand remote working, investing in self-development. It is also important that we answer questions like, what are the short-term and long-term implications for my industry, both locally and internationally? What jobs in my field are going to come back? What jobs in my field will be higher in demand versus lower in demand? Will my industry grow or shrink? Then what skills are important to have and develop to succeed in the expected new state? On the financial dimension, we have cutting costs, poor cash flow, high demands for loans, salary cuts, while we need to maintain lifestyle, standard of living, pay due bills and expenses, and keep also economy flowing. The new normal in the financial dimensions entail more focus on investments and savings in different portfolios by revisiting and revising our budgets, more partnership and sharing models to split costs, whether between individuals or SMEs or different brands, spend to gain, and having online business and payment gate are increasing right now. So this is a financial dimension. Okay, if these are the implications on the international, of the interrelated, dimensions of our life landscape. Now the question is, are we focusing on all the 5 dimensions with clear intentions and goals for each one of them? Or we are only focusing on 1 or 2 at the expense of other dimensions? Again, I would like you to reflect on, and in your chat box, I want you to type A or B, where A is, I have clear intentions and goals for all the 5 dimensions of my life, and B is, unintentionally, I focus on some dimensions at the expense of others. So I'll give you a couple of seconds. Okay, B, Mahmoud, Raja, Sarah, Saud, Ahmed. A, great. Sally B, Suhair B, Ella B. So it's good to see some A's here. Ahmed, Karkar. And the majority of the participants are on B, Mahmoud, Tahawi. So sometimes unintentionally, we focus on some dimensions at the expense of Rania, also B. Thank you all. All right. So sometimes unintentionally, due to the pressure also, we focus on some dimensions at the expense of other dimensions. All right. To help you ensure that you're not missing on any of the 5 dimensions, let me share with you the last part of this webinar, which is life landscape design. Okay, so the objective of this design is to ensure that we are focusing on all the 5 dimensions, because the more the drivers, the more we are able to navigate through our new normal. And if we miss on one dimension, then we're not using all our muscles actually. Okay, so now the pyramid, as we all know, symbolizes consciousness of strength and energy. So I want you to imagine you will draw your life landscape as a pentagonal shape pyramid. A pyramid with a base of a pentagonal shape. The base of the pyramid is the 5 spaces: the physical, spiritual, social, professional, and financial. And the top of this pyramid is what you are aiming for in each dimension. And to reach to the top of this pyramid, you need to climb 7 steps. So again, the pentagonal shape pyramids represent the 5 dimensions of our life: physical, spiritual, social, professional, and financial. This is the base of the pyramid. And the 5 sides of the pyramids are the steps you need to take or to climb in order to reach to the top of your pyramid. And the top of your pyramid is definitely your aim, your objective, your goal, what you really need to reach for each of the 5 dimensions in your life. Okay? So let's start with this. The first step is your intention. The intention is the starting points of every thought, so you need to get clear on what you really want. One of the main reasons people don't have what they want in life is because they are simply not clear about what they really want. It sounds very simple, but it's extremely important that we are crystal clear on what our main goal in life is. Many people, for example, say they want to have more money, a new car, a bigger house, but deep down, what they are seeking for is more freedom, more time, or security. So be clear of what do you really want. Let me give you an example. I'm sure many of you are wearing a watch in their hands. If I ask you what was the reason behind buying this specific watch, if you would like to share even in your chat box, what was the main reason for you to buy or to purchase this specific watch? Can anyone share with me why he selected this specific watch? If you're wearing a watch or any watch you have, why? What are the reasons for you to buy this specific watch? Think about it. New technology, Ahmed, thank you. Style, Ella, thank you. Classic look, Mahmoud, Mansour, thank you. Okay. I'm waiting for anyone to say to no time. No. Style, features, brand. You see the reason? Brand. It's the style, the brand, new look, new technology. So what was your intention? Intentionally here, we need a watch to know time, right? But we're not clear about our intention. That's why even we have maybe 2 or 3 watches sometimes. You don't need 3 watches to know time, right? So the intention is not to know the time. The intention is to have the brand and looks, yeah. And it's keeping on and on. When I ask people, like 50% I've asked it before, no single person said, I bought the watch for the intention of knowing time. So sometimes without knowing, you're not clear about your intention, We don't need, if we need to know time, we don't need, for example, 3 watches or 2 watches sometimes. And you're wearing the watch, and whenever you need to know the time, you look at your mobile as well. So this is what I mean by many people say what they want, but it is not clear. Here, Ahmed, managing time sync with new technology. Yeah, thank you, Ahmed. So again, this is an example of we need to think about it, why and what we really want from what we do, what we say, and what we have. So this is the intention part. If we move to the thoughts, the second step you need to take on this pentagonal shape pyramid or pentapyramid. Thought is the act of thinking about or considering something, an idea or opinion, and your mind is a very powerful thing. When you fill it with positive thoughts, your life will start to change. So thought as a step is crucial after your intention is set. The third one, these thoughts become images in our mind. Thus, visualization can be a very powerful tool for preparing you to see what you want to achieve in life. This is visualization or images. Then words you're using to describe what you see and visualize. So seeing is believing, a very powerful force that could determine the success or failure of your action when used either constructively or destructively. Words cannot change reality, actually, but they have to be translated into actions in order to achieve your goals. And action here is the next step after having your metaphor, your affirmations, all the words in your head. When you repeat the previous steps over and over again to achieve your objectives, it will become a habit. And don't expect to go from zero to hero overnight. Apply the micro change approach by creating daily small habits for the action related to each of the 5 spaces you have. And the last step is our characters. So what we believe determine our thoughts and our intentions as well. Our thoughts determine how we feel. How we feel determine how we behave. How we behave determine what actions we take or we don't take, which will create our moral characters or the qualities that distinguish one individual from another. And that is your gateway to the top of your pyramid. So if I look at this 7 steps, again, intentions, thoughts, images, words, action, habits, and characters. Can you please type in your chat box which step of the 7 steps you see right now do you think is considered the legs and wheels for you to progress on your goal? So think about it. You have 7 steps here. Which one do you think is all of them are critical, all of them are important, but which one is the legs and wheels for you in order to advance and progress on your goal? Think about it. So we're here, action, thank you. Rania, action. Fatma, thoughts and actions. Ahmed, actions. Raja, characters. Action, intentions. Sally, habits and actions. You see lots of actions here. Actually, as I said, this is very much individual, and I think the answer is very much related to where each and every one of us is on this pyramid. Some of us are standing on the intentions, and we're not moving to the thoughts. Some of us are till the words and not moving to the action. Some of us are on the action and not moving to the habit. But it's very much depending on where we stand on the pyramid. But action definitely is the leg and wheel for you to progress and advance on your goal. Some people would climb the pyramid from intention to words. Many people actually would climb the pyramid. They have intentions, they convert those intentions into words, visualize their intentions, they think about it, and stop here. So again, successful one take those steps to the next level, which is the action, habits, and character. So because any visualization, any kind of thinking, visualizing, having good intentions without getting legs and wheels on those intentions and thoughts and images and words, definitely we are going nowhere, or at least we're going to stop on this step on the pyramid. We have different readiness here because we said it's 5 dimensions. So maybe some people on some dimensions, they are very much advanced and they have their own characters and achieving their goals definitely in one dimension. In some other dimensions, they are still on the action. In some other dimensions, they have good intention, but due to the pressures, they are not focusing on how to make those intentions into reality or into habits and character. So This is in a nutshell is the 7 steps of the Penta pyramid that takes you from your intention to achieving your goal on each and every side of the five dimensions. This is an example of some people who mapped their 7 steps actually on each dimension. This is one of the participants, for example. He had each dimension. I think this is a physical dimension here. And he thought about what's his intention of his physical domain. What he's thinking about, what visualization he have or she has. The words he's using, the affirmations, the metaphor, what action he's gonna make, what habits he's gonna create until he reached to a certain character. And this is one dimension. By completing, and this is the same person by the way, by completing the 5 dimension, he had something like this. You have a map with all the 5 dimensions, and on each dimension he has his intentions, his thoughts, images, words, action, habits, and courage. And when completing the 5 dimension, they have something like what you see right now. For example, this person's intention on the 5 dimensions are as follows. He said, my physical intention is to have the perfect body weight and shape so that I am agile and swift. Spiritual intention is to live a life that reflects my values, beliefs, and faith. Social intention is to have the capacity to positively impact my family, friends, and community. For his professional intention, he said, to have a personal growth and be beneficial to people around me. And his financial intention was to be financially free and add value to other people's lives. And when he was clear about those intentions, he started to think about them, how he can achieve on each and every single dimension of his 5 spaces, and so on. It's a journey. Some of us are progressing on one side, more than one side, but it's a journey of life. Most importantly, you need to measure it in order to manage it, actually. If you are interested, I will be more than happy to share with you a complimentary tool for the participants of this webinar to measure where you stand in your 5 dimensions, as well as the ebook of building your Penta Pyramid life. So finally, I would like to thank you so much for your participation. For those of you who are interested in receiving the ebook and the measurement tool of Penta Pyramid, just drop me a line on buildingcapacity@pentapyramid.com. Meanwhile, you may follow us on the Facebook page to be updated with other tools and resources. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sadiq, for the insightful presentation.
Thank you, Ayman.
Now the questions. If there is any questions, please raise your virtual hand. We will call on you. Or if you have to message us, just write the message in chat box to the group, everyone, and we will read it out loud to the speaker. Thank you, Raj. Thank you, Ila.
Thank you, Raja. Ella, thank you. Sarah, thank you. I really appreciate your participation and thank you so much. Again, as I said, I'll be more than happy to share with you any of those resources we have in Penta Pyramid. So you just drop me a line on an email and I'll be more than happy to share with you all what we have.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Sally, thank you. Mahmoud Mansour, thank you so much. Raja, look forward to, thank you, Raja. Tahawi, thank you, Tahawi. Ahmed, thank you, sir. Thank you all for your participation, and I wish you all the best in your life landscape, and hopefully we get out of this lockdown soon, and we keep progressing in our life. I really appreciate your participation. Thank you.
Thank you all for participating, and we hope all enjoyed today's session. Our next session will be held tomorrow. to be hosted by Dr. Aju, working from home and from Performance Factory. Once again, please visit Oman Arab Bank social media pages for more information. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Saddiq.
Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.